still flex that Seahawks division ticket if part of his reasoning was the other teams were going to fall apart, right? That makes sense.
The sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
Hey, good morning. Happy Sunday to everyone. Hope you're all having a lovely weekend. Hope you all had a nice Saturday. Mine was okay. I got a lot of positive comments in for college football yesterday because my picks on the show did very well. My personal bets didn't do nearly as good as my picks on the show did. Actually, I think when UCLA blew that cover, oh my God, for those of you that stayed up and watched UCLA plus 4.5 lose, what a crock of shit. But yeah, I believe UCLA failing to cover at the end of the night slightly put me into the red. So I didn't even have the best day personally. My picks on the show did really well, which is why you're seeing a bunch of positive comments about that. Yeah, it's NFL Sunday, and straight up, I hate my bets today. I have a lot of them too. I have like 12 bets open. I hate every single one of them. Market's moving against me in a lot of them. I feel like today sucks. That being said, I have a lot of open tickets. Might be a bit of an illness, but we're going to go through them. And let's see. We got 11 games, 6 teams on a bye, so a little bit of a lighter week. Gab says, I'm not seeing any positive comments, Kyle. Go click on the upload, dude. Gab. It's too early to deal with Gab shit right now.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so let's go ahead and get us started. Prop Beaver's getting the picks up now. Mm-hmm. We're about 2 minutes behind schedule today, but we're getting going.
They're up.
You're good?
They're in this hell.
All right, so update the graphic. When you update the graphics, sometimes it freezes the thing for a second, so let's just get that before we get started.
Oh, I mean.
UCLA cast me plus 7.5. All right, there you go.
You know who else folded like a lawn chair? Santa Clara basketball.
Yeah? Why is that?
I told you, fade Santa Clara.
Yeah, you also told me to bet Iowa. How'd that work out?
The refs had it out for the Hawkeyes.
Clear ref show. Everybody knows it.
It was a clear rig job.
Not even a college guy, but I mean,
yeah, they clearly.
Doesn't
Utah
take a
State had something,
a
little something. Congrats, world.
Yeah.
All right, so the first up is Chiefs Panthers, and we actually have first game of the day. We have a head-to-head. Play the graphic. Did you play the whole thing?
I mean, how long was it?
It was like they didn't even hear the.
3 seconds.
I have no clue.
All right.
I didn't know how long it went for.
It definitely did. Was way longer than that.
Oh well, it felt pretty long.
No, it.
It
anyway.
felt like eternity. Me holding it up there.
All right, so head-to-head graphic. Who wants to go first? The reason. So Steve and Prop Beaver are on opposite sides here.
I don't think that segment was supposed to be a second and a half, but anyway, so Chiefs Panthers, yeah, I have the Chiefs team total over 26.5. I don't know how you could take it now. I don't know. Maybe Beaver got 27.5, took the other way, but 27 obviously a key number in football, so I like getting it under 26.5. But you guys get the drill. The Panthers giving up the most points in the league. I just need 27 from the Chiefs. Now, before those 3 games they just faced some bad offenses, by the way. Giants, Saints gave up 17 and 22 points. They faced an average offense, and the Broncos gave up 28. The only miss they've given up in those where they haven't given that up, 27 or more, is 26 to the Chargers. This defense gets no pressure. We know that Mahomes is going to have all day. I actually like it that they're coming off a loss as well. They're going to be motivated. This Chiefs offense, yes, I'm not going to say they're elite top 5 offense, but they're a top half of the league kind of offense, averaging 24 points per game. Their run game has struggled, and that's the key to this offense. If they have some run game, their pass game is going to open up because their run game just hasn't been there. But enter in the Panthers run defense, the most rush yards per game in the NFL, giving up 4.6 yards per attempt right now. I honestly think the Chiefs should just score an absolute crap ton in this one. I cannot trust the Panthers defense. I've faded their defense before this season. When you have Mahomes coming off a loss, he's going to be hungry to get some points up on the board. He's going to have all day to throw. As long as the run game can just be pretty decent for them, I just think, and honestly, I haven't seen the Panthers run defense stop anybody. I just haven't seen them stuff anyone. So I know the Chiefs offense is not what it was 3 years ago, but it is plenty good enough. Plus you have Bryce Young on the other end. You know that they're going to get put in some good spots. You could always get a pick six against this really tough Chiefs defense. Good field position with whatever turnover he might make, or maybe some quick 3-and-out start at midfield, all that kind of stuff. 27 is not a ton against the Panthers. Like, as you guys know, I've tailed teams like the Commanders where they had 40 by the third quarter and things like that. So I just need 27. I don't think it's a big deal for them to get. Give me the Chiefs team total over 26.5 on this one. And real quick before Prop Beaver goes, Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown, plus 130. He was bottled up last week, but my goodness, what are we getting plus 130 for? He has been, before that game, 10, 14, and 8 receptions with 2 TDs. It's a great buy low spot. He came out pissed off after last week as well about how the team prepared, how he prepared, which is another reason why I like this. I think they're going to be focused, even though it seems like a letdown. Coming off a loss, I don't think it's a letdown anymore. He's facing, obviously, the worst defense ever. They've given up the most touchdowns to tight ends this year at 7. I think he bounces back with a touchdown, and the Chiefs get to 27-plus points. Now I will kick it over to Prop Beaver to give you false information.
Yeah, wow. Sorry, I'm just I guess I'm just reading a moron in the chat's comments. TWD. Just my lord, buddy. Just don't come around here anymore. I don't really know what
He's going through it, man.
Calling us inauthentic, I guess really bothers me. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean,
It's like the only word that doesn't describe us.
yeah, I don't know. That really bothers me. Anyways, so my pick for this game is the Kansas City team total under 27.5. 1 second. Let's go ahead and let's put that on the screen.
There is a world where this hits 27, by the way, and we both win. But
yeah, I also have Mahomes team total under as well. 1 second. I mean, I could go ahead and I could put all my slips together for you, TWD. That'll take 2 seconds. But
I just muted him. He's done.
All right, cool. Yeah, 1 second. So let me just go ahead and get that on the screen for you guys. But yeah, I love this fade spot for Mahomes. Yeah, you want to talk about coming off that loss, cool, and all. I go, Keep pounding, baby. The Panthers defense is back among us. I think we're starting to see a bit of a change for this Panthers team. Not only are they coming off back-to-back wins, but the defense has looked respectable. They hold their last 2 opponents to less than 40 points combined. On top of that, they're the healthiest they've been all season with DJ Wanham and Jordan Fuller both active. And we got the Chiefs coming off a deflating loss against the Bills with a date against their division rivals in the Raiders in just 5 days on Black Friday. You said they give a shit. I refuse to believe what Kelce says. This team does not give half of a goddamn shit about a non-divisional opponent who they're laying 10.5 points to on the road. They do not give a fuck. So I already don't like the spot for the Chiefs offense, but now take into account the matchup. Sure, on paper, the Chiefs offense obviously should light up Carolina based on the ranks, but now let's dig a bit deeper. Mahomes is best when he's attacking the short area of the field. That's the only area of the field that the Panthers are remotely good at defending. 17th in DVOA compared to 31st and 27th defending the medium and the deep ball. Then we got the Chiefs' rush offense. They lean on gap concepts at a top 10 rate. The Panthers' offense has been significantly better at defending these concepts. 31st in yards per carry against zone, but 15th against gap. On top of that, what else do the Panthers live in? Cover 3. They operate out of it at a league-leading 45% of the time. Well, Mahomes has been one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL against cover 3. 26 in yards per attempt, 29th in passer rating, 35th in big-time throw percentage, and 32nd in turnover-worthy play percentage. The Chiefs, in regulation, take out the overtime against the Bucs, because I don't think they're on an overtime against the Panthers unless they've hit rock bottom. Chiefs in regulation are 9-1 to this number, with the lone over coming by the hook at San Francisco, and opposing quarterbacks are 7-3 to their passing yards under against the Panthers. We see Mahomes' attempts line between 31.5 and 32.5, a line he's smashed in his last 4 games, so that's pretty suspect. Well, with just 35 or less attempts on the road, he's under his last 8 of 10 starts, averaging just 212 yards per game. I love me some Mahomes fade here. I think the Panthers could win this game straight up, but I obviously hope the Chiefs win, so we get both of these unders here. Let's go.
I love that you just lost all credibility with that last statement. That was great.
Yeah.
Hey, that was brutal. I'd have to say this. He said they've held the last two teams to under 40 points. It was the Saints and the Broncos, and they gave up 430
It was
yards.
the Giants. You lost credibility.
Giants and Saints. They give up 430 yards to the Saints. I mean, you cannot compare the Giants and Saints. The Giants off. They're both debacles. You can't. The only even average offense they faced in the last 3 games was the Broncos. They put up 28 on them. So that doesn't mean much to me. But again, 27.5 would have been a little different for me as well. Like I said, 26.5 is a huge number. So we do have different numbers there. But yeah, I got that one. Thank you.
All right. So
We'll watch later.
Let me just try to sort through the mess that was just displayed here. So I would tend to agree more with Prop Beaver, but I don't think the Chiefs are going to be able to run the ball. So taking Patrick Mahomes under when he might be dropping back to pass a lot, I think you may be outdoing yourself, sir. That being said, I agree with what you said. I think the Panthers could play some decent defense against the Chiefs. I also don't think it's a terrible matchup for the Panthers offensively either. I'm on Carolina plus 11. I just want you guys to know I'm not proud of it. It's not something I'm comfortable with. I didn't sleep well last night thinking about it. I haven't bet the Panthers in a while. It's a really rough slate for anyone who spent more than a couple hours looking at today's games knows that it's really tough to find value in this one. That being said, I think this is the right side. Like I said, I got it at plus 11. I really like what Prop Beaver shared. I do think it's a solid matchup for the Panthers defensively. I think they can play some solid defense. Chiefs haven't been able to run the ball in a month. So even though the Panthers struggle against the run, Kansas City hasn't run the ball at all. They're averaging like 3 yards a carry in their last 4 games. They can't run the ball. So even though the Panthers' run defense is bad, I can't put any reliability on the Chiefs' rushing attack. So it's going to be all on Mahomes. Like Prop Beaver says, the Panthers run more cover 3 than any other defense in the NFL. Mahomes is terrible against cover 3. He's bottom 10 quarterback in the NFL this year against cover 3. So I am with that. On the other side, for the Panthers offense, I know it sounds crazy. It's really not terrible to think the Panthers might move the ball a bit in this game. First of all, Panthers have been running the ball. It's under the radar. No one's talking about it. But in the last 8 games, Carolina's averaging 4.9 yards per carry as a team. They've been running the ball. Chiefs have a great run defense, but on the road in probably the least important game on Kansas City's schedule this year, I think the Panthers can average close to 4 yards per carry in this game. And Bryce Young, significantly better when blitz. Spagnuolo does nothing but blitz. Bryce Young's actually top 10 in the NFL in big-time throw rate when blitzed. Carolina getting Iquanu back at left tackle. Spagnuolo is going to send blitzes. I think Carolina's offensive line is able to pick some of those up. I think Young might be able to make a couple throws, a couple big plays. So, yeah, I'm on Carolina here. Again, it's crazy. I'm getting double-digit points with the home team. And I don't even like the matchup at all for the Chiefs. So, yeah, I think the Panthers are able to play them tough. Win outright is kind of crazy, but I do think the Panthers are able to keep to play them tough. And this game comes down to the wire. Mahomes needs to pull some heroics to win it. Toast?
Chiefs minus 10.5. It was pretty easy for me. Double-digit favorites in the NFL this year are 5-0. Not to mention, there's this idea that the Chiefs and Mahomes don't cover big spreads, and they don't. The last 4 of them, they're 4-0 straight up. They're 0-3 in 0-3-1 ATS in those games. I think that all those teams were Houston in 2022, Oakland, Denver, and New England in 2023. Again, I just don't think the Panthers even remotely resemble any of those teams. So I'm just going to continue to play the big double-digit favorites in the NFL until they lose. So Chiefs minus 10.5.
Next.
I don't know why my screen's blurry and it's bothering
It's not
me.
blurry on our end. Oh, wow.
I know. That's why.
It is blurry on my end.
Oh, that's weird.
It's not on it, but it's not on the other screens. Weird. It's weird.
Maybe refresh his link, Prop Beaver. But anyway, next up is Vikings Bears in Chicago. So if you watch the video I uploaded last night, I said I was leaning towards the Vikings. I was leaning towards Bears team total under. I was hoping to get a Vikings -3. Well, I got it. You can get Vikings -3 now. Line open at 5.5. It's been bet all the way down to 3. No question that would be indicative of the sharp money coming in on the other side. But now that it's down to 3, I think it's a perfect time to buy back on Minnesota. I like the matchup for the Vikings a lot. I I don't know what the Bears are going to do offensively in this game. I understand Sam Darnold on the road in Chicago. The Vikings haven't been running the ball. I understand if you don't like the matchup for the Vikings offense, but on the other side of the ball, I mean, this is really tough for Caleb Williams against the Vikings blitz packages. The Bears offensive line has struggled in pass protection. Vikings amongst the best teams in the NFL in generating pressure. Vikings also have one of the best run defenses in the NFL. I really don't know how the Bears are going to consistently move the chains in this game. I know you can point at the fact that there's a new play caller, right? It's a new offensive coordinator here in Chicago. Maybe that does change things a bit. But in my opinion, you can't change just elite pass rush against bad offensive line. You can't change that with an offensive coordinator. They're just not capable of stopping these blitzes. So I expect Caleb Williams to be in prison. He's got a high pressure to sack rate. Minnesota should give him all kinds of problems. And then on the other side of the ball, now that I got it at 3, that's what I was waiting for. I think the Vikings, I like the matchup for the Vikings defense enough to think that they'll be in favorable positions in terms of field position this whole game. I can understand probably low scoring, but let's say 21-13 Vikings. I got -3. The graphic says 3.5, but you can get 3.
Yeah, I'll go next. I'm in complete agreement with him. My bet wasn't the Vikings. I didn't realize it went to 3, though. I love it at 3. I was actually waiting for the same thing. But just a quick stat to kind of go with that. Also, when Caleb Williams has faced a team with a 2% sack rate or higher, the team has never reached 20 points. They're 1-6 straight up. When he faces a team that doesn't sack, that's under 2%, they've scored 60 points in the 2 games. It's a big difference. They might have a new offensive coordinator. Their O-line still sucks. My best bet in this game is DeAndre Swift under 54.5 rush yards at -110. Multiple reasons why I love this bet. First, he's dealing with a groin injury, limited in practice. Obviously, if he doesn't play, it's just voided, but I do think he plays. Probably going to be limited, obviously helpful for an under. Second is the first game under the new offensive coordinator, Roshan Johnson, also carried it 10 times. They mentioned how they want to get him the ball more. Then the third, this matchup is as bad as it gets. The Vikings giving up the third fewest rushing yards to the running back position, second fewest yards per carry at only 3.6 yards per carry. They've given up by far the fewest rush attempts to their opponent this season. Opponents know their game plan is not to run the ball when they go into Minnesota. And let's talk some running backs versus the Vikings this year. How about Pollard, 9 for 15? ETN 11 carries, 44. Jonathan Taylor had 48 yards. Breece Hall 23. Jacobs 51. Cam Akers 21. Singletary 37. I mean, it has just been brutal. I think this number is too high. I didn't even get it at the start of it. I think it was started at like 58.5. It might even be down to 50 now. But I just think this offensive line is in shambles. DeAndre Swift ain't going to get over 54.5. So I like his under, but I'm in agreement with Kyle on everything. I don't see how the Bears score against this defense and the pressure they're going to put on them. So.
Yeah, and a big part of this that I forgot to mention was, if you remember last week, I said I liked the Bears at +5.5 against Green Bay, which obviously won. They should have won the game. The reason I liked that was Green Bay sits back in coverage and gives you those underneath throws, which Caleb Williams actually has efficient numbers. He's good at throwing those short passes, or according to the numbers, he is. Minnesota's defense is the complete opposite. This is one of the best defenses in the NFL at taking away the short pass. If you want to score points on Minnesota, you got to go down the field. And Caleb Williams' numbers throwing the ball downfield are awful. They're not good at all. He's, like I said, he's been efficient throwing those short passes. Vikings don't let you have those like the Packers do. So, yeah, it's a terrible. Not to mention, the Bears run a lot of gap concept blocking schemes. The Vikings are the best defense in the NFL against those. I mean, the mismatch for the Vikings on defense, we could read off angles for days. It's a really, really tough matchup for the Bears offensively. So even though I don't really like the matchup for Sam Darnold and the Vikings offense at all, I think the Vikings defense is going to be so dominant in this game that they're going to be put in positions to get easy points. So, in my opinion, as long as Sam Darnold doesn't just completely fuck this up, which, hey, is wildly possible, as long as Sam Darnold just doesn't completely screw this up, the Vikings should ride the back of the defense into an easy, comfortable win. Not to mention the Vikings have won 4 straight in Chicago and covered. 4-0 against the spread, 4-0 straight up their last 4 trips to Chicago. Also 5 straight unders in those games. The last 5 Vikings Bears games in Chicago have all gone under. So Vikings Bears games in Chicago, if you've been blindly taking the Vikings and blindly taking the under, you are doing well. Vikings up. I also lean under as well. I know Helms is in the comments saying over. Don't listen to him.
I also just want to say real quick, probably before you go, last week when you saw the new offensive coordinator, you saw Odunze get involved a lot more on their offense, and you saw DJ Moore, I think his ADOT was like a yard. Like they just threw the ball to him at the line of scrimmage. It was just different. Just something to keep in mind. Just something to look at for the second game.
Sauce, if you talk about these two teams always play unders, you also know that the Vikings don't ever win or cover in Chicago, right? 14-1 their last.
They're 4 in a row.
19?
Toast.
I don't know. I see 14-1 ATS in Chicago their last 19 trips. That's what I see. That's what my numbers have. What do I know? What do I know?
Yes. Okay. Ready, Toast? Yes.
I'm ready.
14-1, but they were 10-1. They've won 4 in a row.
Okay.
Don't come at me with that.
I'll take the big. I'm going to take the bigger sample size.
Okay, yeah. What happened in 1973, Toast? That's relevant. They've won 4 in a row here. I don't care what happened in the 90s when I was just a lad.
No.
Go ahead, take the Bears then.
Nah, I'll take the DJ Moore over 4.5 receptions, though. This might be a little bit square. I asked Beaver about this earlier, and he said he confirmed it's a little bit square. I do not care, though. The Vikings have let up receptions to other teams' number 1 receivers all season long. Deebo Samuel, 8. Stephon Diggs, 10. Jalen Reed, 7. Garrett Wilson, 13. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8. Puka Nacua, 7. I just feel like if the Bears are going to have any remotely a chance of winning this game, that DJ Moore is going to have to be involved. So I took him over 4.
I would like to clarify. I did not confirm it's square. I said I would lean Odunze over Moore. That is what I said. Because Odunze is targeted more on blitz plays, and the Vikings lead the NFL in blitzes. That is the only...
It felt like you were just trying to be nice to me,
that is the only reason.
Toast is taking DJ Moore because when Herbert Hoover was in the White House, the Bears beat the Vikings once.
True.
That had nothing. I was talking about that had nothing to do with my DJ Moore pick. I was just looking at certain trends, and I just wanted to put it out there that it hasn't been a good place for them for a while.
Yeah, what else happened in the 80s?
I guess I'm with Toast here. I guess backing the Bears somewhat. You guys glazing the Vikings all day, cool and all. I'm going to be fading the Vikes here in some way. I'm taking Sam Darnold under 1.5 pass CDs, drinking a bit of juice here as well. But I think it's well worth it. Sam Darnold's a guy who's 5th in the NFL in pass CDs, over the mark in 7 to 10 starts. So why do I feel like there's a ton of value in a juiced under here? Well, the Bears have been incredible at limiting opposing pass TDs. Just one QB has hit 2+ pass TDs against them through 10 games thus far, averaging 0.7. And funny enough, that was overseas in London. So on U.S. soil, opposing QBs 9-0 to the under, averaging just 0.6 against them. And they've tied to allow the fewest with the Jets and Lions at 0.7 per game, who Darnold has both conveniently faced. How many TDs did he combine against for? 1. So last week, he faced the Titans defense that gifted Jordan Addison an unnecessary roughness call on a completely clean hit to give the Vikings another set of downs at 4th and 1. Darnold would have only had 1 TD last week, and that would have made him under his last 4 or 6 games. So I think he's pretty overvalued heading into this one. After clearing the mark in 4 straight to start the year, the Bears play zone at one of the highest rates in the league, and Darnold's number take a dramatic hit against zone, including a gross 5 to 8 TD to interception ratio. We haven't seen the Vikings face a real pass rush since Christian Darrisaw went down, and I think that's the real reason this line is moving in the wrong direction. They faced the Jaguars and the Titans, 22nd in pressure rate, 20th in pressure rate. Now they're going to face the Bears, who are 3rd in pressure rate. And the Bears have a massive edge in pass rush, and Darnold's one of the most prone quarterbacks in the league in terms of taking sacks, 30th in pressure to sack rate. Those are drive killers. I just think that once it gets to the end zone, I'm taking that under.
All right. Well, all right. Next up.
Sounds like we're on the same page there. I like Aaron Jones over as a rush.
There we go.
Rush. Yep.
Dallas, Washington. I don't have it open in front of me. Does anyone know what the look-ahead line would have been for this? Because it's just crazy.
Preseason or last week?
Yeah. I guess preseason would be the most dramatic, but I don't think this line would have been open preseason. So,
around 3.5.
Dallas minus 3.5.
Yeah.
Well, they're catching.
I don't know how far that goes back, but
well, they're catching 10.5 now, and like if you've been following the NFL last few weeks, completely warranted. There isn't much to like about this Cowboys team right now, specifically on the offensive side. I actually do think the defense is playing better than perceived. As you guys probably already know, when the offense is going 3 and out, giving the ball right back, there's only so much a defense could do. You stop a team 3 and out, then your offense just gives the ball right back. You stop them 3 and out again, the offense gives the ball right back. Like eventually they're going to give up yards. It's only a matter of time. So prop Beaver, actually, would you like to take this one? Because this was your
sure.
bet first.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like, you could just open it with this. You're getting a total at 45.5 with Cooper Rush at quarterback. I mean, that sounds like a pretty damn good deal to me. Yeah, I mean, simply put, let's open it with this. I think there's some validity to the point where if you want to take an over here, Cooper Rush and the Dallas offense finally catches a break against a weaker Commanders defense. His first 2 starts this year were against Philly and Houston. Those defenses are top 5, I believe, in EPA per play and DVOA. So they're pretty damn good. But quite frankly, the Houston defense on the road this year, they fall into the bottom half of the league in most metrics. They've been really good at home. And the half of Cooper Rush that I saw against that bum-ass Atlanta defense, while they were essentially playing prevent, that wasn't really impressive either. So from what I have seen from Cooper Rush this season, he might truly be the worst quarterback in the NFL going. So maybe with the talent elsewhere they have around him and the fact that the Washington rush defense is such a glaring hole, that they're going to be able to use the advantage they have in the trenches, pick up a few first downs, run some clock, kick some field goals. But in terms of scoring touchdowns, I'm just not seeing it here. The Commanders' defense has faced 3 offenses in the bottom 10 of DVOA. Cowboys apply here, and they're allowing just 11.7 points per game and a negative 15.4% DVOA. When they face top 20 offenses, that increases to 26 points per game, 15.1% DVOA. So I feel like they've fallen victim to facing a lot of good offenses lately. Now they're going to face a really bad one. On top of that, you got the Dan Quinn angle facing the team that essentially scapegoated him for their lack of success at the end of last season. That defense should be really motivated here, shut down Cooper Rush and co. And then on the other side, we got Jaden Daniels, who unfortunately we're starting to see some major signs of weakness with that rib injury, evidently affecting him. The last 2 games, the passer rating has fallen a whole 35 points from weeks 3 to 9. And Kyle, he's going to bring it up in a second, but they've been seeing an increase of good pass rushes lately, and the numbers, they're really falling off. On top of that, when he was hot, the one good pass rush he did see was Cleveland, and that was his worst passing rating performance of all. So one
he didn't play well in that game.
No, he did not play well that game at all. So, and on top of that, one bad hit on Daniels in this game could take him out of the game effectively. This is a very good pass rush. So one bad hit could disrupt the balance of this game. We've seen this series be a lot more under heavy at Washington. I believe it's 11-6 to the under the last 17 at Washington compared to 6-11 to the under the last 17 at Dallas. I'm going to trust that this game's a lot more competitive. A lot more competitive, slow pace, grinded out here on the road. Dallas defense should be very motivated to perform against their old defensive coordinator.
So yeah, I agree with me and Prop Beaver he edited this video. So if you watch the video, so that's why we're working with the same notes here for this one. And I want to bring up what he said about Rico Dowdle running the ball, because your hesitation to betting an under here, your brain, the first thing it's going to do is, wait, what if Washington scores 40 points? Obviously, that's what your brain's going to do. You're certainly not thinking, oh, I can't bet the under. Cooper Rush might put up 30. Like, that's not what your brain's thinking. It's thinking, what if Washington scores 40 points? So when we're pointing out that Washington's run defense has looked really bad, and the Cowboys actually are running the ball a little bit recently, that's just to point out that the Cowboys might be capable of starting these drives with a couple first downs, chewing 4 minutes, and punting it back, which is, in my opinion, all we're going to need to keep this number under the total. Cowboys just need to run the ball, get 2 first downs, punt, give Washington bad field position. Yeah, of course, Jaden Daniels is going to be able to get down the field and score a few times in this game. That's unavoidable. But what Prop Beaver said about the recent pass rushes is also true. We're seeing the Washington offensive production dip. Yes, they just played the Eagles and the Steelers, and the Cowboys defense doesn't belong in the same discussion, but the pass rush does. And let's not act like this is weird for a rookie quarterback to come on and be sensational in the league, to figure him out a bit in the second half of the season. I know it's hard to visualize sometimes, but it always happens. So it might also be plausible, but that now that the league has some film on Jaden Daniels and has some film on what Kingsbury's trying to do, this Washington offense might not be quite as potent down the stretch. So I can't take the Cowboys because I truly think Washington might win 31-6. I would still probably lean Washington, to be honest. But I thought the better bet was just take the under here. So I'm on the under at 45.5. Steve?
Yeah, no, I like the under now after listening to all that too. I have a lean in this one. It's just Commanders minus 10.5. You guys said it all. Cowboys, they can run the ball. They're just so terrible in the trenches. I mean, it's just pathetic. It's on both sides of the ball. They lost by 24, 28 the last couple of games. We all know how bad they are. But like you guys said, Jaden Daniels in this Commanders offense hasn't been elite. Coming off a bye, maybe his rib injury is healthier. Maybe he runs the ball a little bit more. We'll see. Or maybe they're saving him. I'm not sure, but I don't think this is the game where they all of a sudden unleash him, especially if they have a big lead or anything. So, but I lean Commanders. Nothing big here. Dan Quinn wants his revenge too. Don't forget that. But either way, it's a pass for me.
Cali Kid had said in the comments, why do you guys talk about past team stats, talking about trends? And I am not a trends guy either. But the thing is, a lot of viewers might be. So the way I try to do it is I try to give enough information where however you like to bet, you'll hear it. So some people really like trends. I personally am not a trends guy, but some people are successful and turn a profit betting off a trend. So who am I to say they're doing it the wrong way when they're profitable? So yeah, I'm not a trends guy, but some people find them interesting. So we try to share them.
I personally love divisional trends. When it comes to football, divisional trends are the shit.
He personally loves them.
Love them.
Toast.
I can't. Okay. First of all, Commanders minus 10.5. If you look at the last 5 times these two teams have played, it's been like not even close games. Dallas wins 38-10, 45-10. Washington wins 26-6, 25-10 again. Dallas 56-14. Dallas. I think this is about time that the Commanders have their chance to do some whooping. Not to mention the fact that this is just a classic overthink by all three of these guys, just missing on the easiest money on the board. Austin Seabird over 7.5 kicking points. All this guy does is cash. Eight weeks in a row we've played this. 8 weeks in a row we've won. It's very similar to Chris Bos. He's not on the Boswell level, but he's very, very close. He's definitely in that second tier. So Austin Seabird over 7.5 kicking points. I don't do field goals. I didn't do field goals just in case Washington is scoring. So I want those extra point on my side. But yeah, anyway. Go ahead, Beaver.
All right. How about we move on to the next one? Not going to lie. Hate my bet. I hate my bet. I have 2 bets today that I hate. To be honest, I hate a lot of my bets today. I like this slate sucks. I have a lot of bets open. I don't like a lot of them. This is one of the bets I don't like. You guys probably already know what it is because I talked about it in the YouTube video I uploaded last night. So I have a teaser. A quote-unquote Wong teaser, Dolphins -1, Houston -2.5. Didn't even get the best of the number on the Houston side. That's how much I hate it. Not only do I not like the bet, but I didn't even do it right. So, yeah. Like, how awful is that, Toast?
He screwed up a two-teamer.
The how awful is that, though, Toast? To be on a bet I don't like and to have gotten the worst of the number. Like shit.
In a teaser. That's just like a cherry on top.
Just give me my loss. Like I'll accept it. So yeah, this I do have this bet down. I have this bet down, posted on the site. I'm not backing out.
Eater.
The problem is there were 2 bets I placed early in the week, and I regret both of them. I'll tell you what the second one is in a few games. So yeah, I got Dolphins Houston teaser. Now, just because I don't like the bet doesn't mean it's not going to count. Maybe this hits. But Toast, it's also -120. Like fucking, like stupid.
I'm also laughing because people are calling you the new Dark Cloud.
No. I never. That's Toast's thing. Toast is the one with clinical depression, not me. All right. So, first of all, Miami owns New England.
True.
Right? Can we all agree on that? That New England just never beats this team. Do you have the trend on that up? Probably where I could go.
Yeah, I could try and get it real quick.
We have it in our notes right here. Here it is. Hold on. I have it right. Come on. Here it is.
Like the last 5 games?
Nope, I just found it. So Dolphins 8-0 against the spread in their last 8 matchups against New England, 7-1 straight up. So the Patriots haven't covered a spread against the Dolphins in 4 years. And specifically at home in Miami, 9-2 straight up in the last 11, 9-2 against the spread in the last 11. So for whatever reason, the Patriots can just never seem to beat Miami. Specifically Tua. Tua's 5-0 lifetime against the Patriots. So for what, take that information, do with it what you will. It's hard. I didn't really like the matchup for Drake May. Did you like the matchup for Drake May here? Did you have notes on this game?
It was one of the first games I did at the very beginning of the week, and I had a prop in it. So I got to be honest, it's been quite a while since I've re-looked at this game, refreshed myself.
What we were talking about, okay, so I didn't know if you had anything. So what we were talking about is the Patriots have been running the ball a little bit the last few weeks. Maybe Drake May being in there kind of opens things up for the offense. And if it wasn't for the Dolphins' run defense recently, I probably would have taken the points with New England. But Miami has just locked it down on the defensive front. In their last 4 games, granted, yes, the Raiders are in there, but they also played the Bills, the Cardinals, the Rams. Well, the Rams' offensive line's been a little weak. But the Bills and Cardinals, 2 offenses that could definitely generate push and run the ball. In those last 4 games, the Dolphins are allowing 3.8 yards per carry, 76.8 rushing yards per game. The Dolphins in their last 4 are allowing less than 77 rushing yards per game. So if they're able to take the run away, you got Drake May on the road. I think we're going to see a mistake or 2, maybe an interception or 2. On the other side, do I expect Tua to go off here? No, we're not seeing the same sort of Tua. He doesn't have the same numbers from a clean pocket. I don't know if he's not on the same page as his wide receivers or he's not seeing the field properly. I'm not sure. The Dolphins are running the ball, though. So I didn't lay the 7. This is the bet. I don't even like it, so I don't want to spend any more time talking about it, to be honest.
All right, yeah, I'll go then. My best bet, I got 2 best bets. First one is Dolphins -7. He said a lot of it. He mentioned how they own them. And then this Patriots offense, they have ran the ball a little bit, but like he said, I mean, they held Kyron Williams to 62 yards. James Cook, 10 carries on 44. Madison and White had 10 carries combined for 28 yards. This Dolphins run defense has actually been pretty good. And now you're going to rely on Drake May, who's obviously better than Jacoby Brissett, but still they're 0-3 on the road, scoring only 16, 17, and 19 points on the road. And now they have to rely on him behind the worst pass blocking unit in the league, the offensive line for the New England Patriots. And then Dolphins offense, I actually think Tua gets going a little bit here, along with their run game. Tua, he hasn't made as many explosive plays as usual, but I mean, he is completing 77% of passes last 4 games. And the Patriots pass defense 31st in DVOA. I just think they win easy. I think they cruise to a win here. And then my second best bet is actually the first leg of a ladder. It's Hunter Henry over 4.5 receptions. I got this at plus 105 on BetMGM. He's been a huge part of this offense, over in 4 of the last 5 games, averaging 5.5 receptions per game. But it's the targets that I really love: 9, 6, 8, 4, and 9 receptions last 5. 19.8% target share with Drake May in the last 5. Hunter Henry is actually the 5th most targeted tight end in the entire NFL. And now he faces the Dolphins, who have been good against the run, but against tight ends, they have not been. 26th in receptions allowed to tight ends. Just recently, Brock Bowers, 13 catches. Davis Allen, 5. Dalton Kincaid, 4. Trey McBride, 9. Hunter Henry's ran the most routes of any tight end in the entire NFL. I love him to go over 4.5 catches, and the first leg of my ladder parlay is him to get 6 catches as well. So I like Henry and the Dolphins.
So Trinidad in the comments says, as a Patriots fan, Tua's going to go off on us today. So if you are looking for a Tua angle, so Tua really struggles against cover 3. Patriots run a lot of cover 2 and cover 1, and Tua is actually top 10 in the NFL this year against cover 1, pretty much top 10 against cover 2 as well. So on paper, it is a decent matchup for Tua. He doesn't have like the most savage numbers against New England. He's 5-0 against them, but it hasn't been like 4 touchdown games. He's got a solid passer rating. He plays pretty well against New England. He doesn't usually cook them. But yes, I agree with Trinidad. It is a pretty good matchup on paper for Tua here.
I gotta be honest. I may add the Hunter Henry prop. That sounds very good to me, Jabbo. I did not look at that one, and that sounds phenomenal. Hunter Henry's been paying out with Drake May, so that sounds excellent. I also have a tight end prop in this game, but it's the other tight end, and it's actually in the other direction. Jonnu Smith. I'm going under 40.5 receiving yards. If you have Jonnu Smith on your fantasy team, you're probably going, what the hell is the issue here? I mean, this dude's been balling out lately. Last week, I mean, he went literally ballistic. The books have been testing my beliefs here. I mean, overall, we know they're not a charity case, and that when something looks too good to be true, more oftentimes it is than not. I think the same way with the Jonnu Smith line. I mean, I considered taking this exact line last week when we got it, and it got steamed down to 37.5. The books had his receptions at 3.5, juice to the under, despite smacking the total his previous 4 or 5 games. And thank God I didn't, because Jonnu went ballistic for 110 yards, 6 receptions on 8 targets. So we must be getting an inflated line here, right? Nope. The books set it at the same exact line. I think most books have it at 37.5 here still. And the receptions line is still at 3.5, despite now going over his last 5 or 6 games. So is it charity night? I don't think so. I think they're taking another stand. So why do they have it this low? Well, we need context. The last time he faced this Patriots defense, he had Tyler Huntley at QB, and he had 62 yards on 5 receptions. But that was against that was with Tyler Huntley. With Tua at quarterback, this man just does not get targeted against man coverage. The Patriots run man coverage at the third highest rate in the league. So with Tua against man coverage, he only has a 9.8 target share. That is half his target share against zone. Same thing in terms of team yardage. So against zone, he's accounted for 23% of the team yards. Against man coverage, just 2.5%. Same thing with yards per route run. 2.82 yards per route run against zone. 0.3 yards per route run against man. Against this Patriots defense that runs man at one of the highest rates in the league, I think this is going to be a brutal matchup for him.
Do you know if does he not get targeted during man coverage, or he just doesn't produce, or do you have that?
He doesn't get targeted and he doesn't produce. Target rate in half, and then yards per route run is literally 1/8 of what it is normally. So he's just simply not producing at all. On top of that, the Patriots defense is 6th in receptions per game and 4th in targets per game allowed to tight ends. Something interesting I noted, non-Jets tight ends, so basically Tyler Conklin and Jeremy Ruckert, are 7-1 to the under, according to props.cash, against the New England Patriots. The lone exception to go over the total was Jonnu Smith with Tyler Huntley at quarterback. So I think that regression is going to hit here, and that we're going to see Jonnu Smith go under with 4 or fewer receptions, which the books are heavily implying. This is a guy under his last 26 or 30 games.
Toast?
I talk shit about your teaser, but I probably shouldn't have. You don't have to type all this, Beaver, but everybody can just listen. Washington, Miami, Houston, moneyline parlay.
Are you kidding me? Washington, Miami, Houston, moneyline parlay. The chalkiest, disgusting shit I ever heard.
They're playing Tennessee, New England, and Dallas. Find me a way that one of those three teams wins. And also, by the way, I just want to point out to all the haters out there, I've hit a three-team moneyline parlay 3 straight weeks. So,
oh my god!
I'm just saying, people are talking. It's all good.
Do you also want to put down a 6-leg touchdown score
I'm
parlay
not typing
too?
that shit. Get help.
No, I'll leave that for you.
Don't put it up. We have to reserve some integrity on this show. Don't even put that up. Next up.
Yeah, Beaver.
Tennessee, Houston. You could just put my bet right back on the screen. It's the same one. You guys know what it is.
Oh, the heater?
Steve, would you like to bat lead off on this one?
Yeah, I'll go first. Just real quick trends. Texans 10-1 against the spread in the first half. Titans, the team that Beaver said would win the division maybe, and the Colts sucking. They are 1-9 against the spread this season. Only second time ever that's happened through 11 weeks in the last 30 years. But either than that, I just said it. Texans, it's like a half unit play for me. Texans -4.5 in the first half. I cashed their team total in the first half last week easily. This team is just dominant in the first half. They come out ready to go. Nico Collins obviously huge. I have no reason to not think they're going to do it again. They're averaging 14.5 points per game in the first half. That's 5th best. Only 9 points per game in the second half. I just think they come out ready to roll. Big lead at halftime. So give me the Texans -4.5 in the first half. I don't usually bet first half, but the way the Texans are playing, we just got to keep rolling.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I just want to add on that really quick. The Texans are 10-1 ATS as far as in the first half this year. That's the best start for any team in the last 20 years. They're also 2-9 in the second half spread, making them the worst team in the NFL as well. So that's a huge stark difference with how the Texans start the game and how they finish the game. That's for sure.
All right. So you guys know what my bet is. It's the bet that I hate. This stupid Wong teaser. So I know that you look at a quick glance, you look at the matchup for the Texans offense against the Titans defense. It looks terrible. The Titans have a borderline top 10 defense, and the Texans have a bottom 10 offense based on the production we've seen so far this year. There's just some moving pieces here that makes me like the matchup for Houston a bit more. Number one, we know C.J. Stroud at home at Houston's a different type of animal. I mean, that's dating back to last year, too, when he was going off. This year, he's been struggling kind of across the board. But even last year, when he was going nuts, much better at home. Do you know he only threw 6 touchdown passes on the road all of last season? 6. Wasn't that good on the road last year either. So he's back at home where he's been much better. Very favorable splits at home last year. Very favorable splits at home this year. That's number one. Also, the Houston Texans defense has some pretty extreme home-away splits this year. Just a completely different defense at home. In fact, their numbers against the pass this year at home are excellent. Nobody's coming into Houston and throwing the ball so far this year. Will Anderson is confirmed back, right? Pretty sure he's confirmed. Let me just... Yep. Will Anderson is back. Even though I think his impact is a little bit exaggerated, this Houston defense is elite across the board. It's not just Will Anderson, but obviously having him on the field is huge. And do you know what really was the deciding factor? And this one came from Prop Beaver. He put up two graphics next to each other. You guys probably, if you watch the video uploaded, you already saw it. It was the Titans' defensive numbers, because we all we all perceive the Titans to have a good defense, right? That's what we all say when we talk about the Titans. Like, oh yeah, the defense is good, the offense sucks. Well, actually, since L'Jarius Sneed has gotten hurt, I don't even know if I'd consider this a good defense anymore. Hold on, I have it right here. I'll give you the exact numbers. Ready? So, Titans, in their first 5 games with L'Jarius Sneed on the field. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the pass defense numbers. Titans, in their first 5 games with L'Jarius Sneed on the field, they're allowing 4.8 yards per play, 22 points per game. In their last 5 games without L'Jarius Sneed, they're allowing 30.6 points per game, 30.6 points per game, 5.9 yards per play, almost a 50% success rate. So I have to kind of take a step back and question, if L'Jarius Sneed isn't playing, is this Titans defense good? I mean, they're getting cooked. So I don't even know if I consider the Titans a good defense anymore. So at home in Houston, where I trust C.J. Stroud a bit more. Like I said, I don't love the bet, but I did place it.
All right, let's do it. Let's pull the Band-Aid off. You're simply the best. I mean...
Wait, hold on. Before you go.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up that you made a promise to me, to Andy, to everyone on this show that you were done with Will Levis. You promised us.
It's Willie Mayo's a drug I can't quit.
So you're the type of person that breaks his promises.
I don't know if I've won a single bet on this piece of shit this year. In fact, he almost cost me my bet last week that wasn't even on him. I had the under 39.5, and when he threw that 98-yard touchdown, I'm like, this guy's an absolute prick. But we still cashed that under last week. Willie Mayo, you can't depend on his arm. So you got to depend on the legs. I really like this play. In his 2 games since returning from injury, we've seen Titans head coach and offensive play caller Brian Callahan try to utilize Will Levis's legs a bit more with an increase in RPO stuff. And while I don't know if I can feasibly bet on his arm anymore, I'm willing to give the legs one last shot in a smash spot against this Texans defense. His last 2 games, the first one coming against a Chargers team that I think it's 31st and 32nd in pace, these 2 offenses. So extremely slow-paced game. He had 5 attempts. And the last game against Minnesota, 7 attempts those last 2 games compared to 3.2 average his first 5 starts. Now going to face a Texans defense that's gotten completely gashed by mobile quarterbacks. Thus far, they've seen Anthony Richardson twice, Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Josh Allen. And in those 5 games, they've combined to average an unholy 48 yards per game on just 5.2 attempts on the ground. That's an absurd 9.1 yards per carry. Meanwhile, we got Willie Mayo in this bitch, whose rush attempts is at 4.5 and juice to the over. With 4+ rush attempts, he's over his last 4 or 5 games, averaging 32 yards per game, including 25 against none other than the Houston Texans. In fact,
I'm taking a piss break.
Okay. In fact, with 5+ rush attempts, which I feel quite good about him hitting here, QBs are 8-1 to the over against the Miko Ryans Texans. So this just might be a trend. Quarterbacks can run on the Texans, averaging 42 yards. I lean the Titans plus 7.5, and hell, I think the Titans can even win, but I refuse to detail why, as I've done so many times for them to piss on my hard work. Just run the ball. Just do it, Willie.
I do agree with you as far as the Titans plus the points. I didn't bet it, but I also think that this is like the highest the lowest value or lowest rated you're going to get the Titans, and one of the highest you're going to get Texans. But for me, I didn't bet this game, but I would rather do Calvin Ridley or Nico Collins anytime touchdown. That's just what I would do. So I think that the Texans, what do the Texans do? Run a lot of zone, a lot of pressure. Calvin Ridley gets a lot of targets in the end zone when they're down there. Again, he's plus 275. I don't really know, but there's no way in hell I'm betting the side in this game. I think the Texans win, but that's about as far as I can go as far as this one.
The comments are funny. they're like 7 rushes, 9 yards. Yeah. Career passing day for Will Levis.
Of course.
Probably, where's the love coming from on Levis? Have you just liked him since college?
No, I actually think he's terrible, but okay. I don't know. It's like I guess I like underdogs, you know? I guess I like incompetency.
You got yourself one right there, buddy.
You called him a piece of shit. You said I haven't want to bet on this piece of shit all year. All right. Detroit, Indianapolis. Steve, would you mind going? I'm embarrassed in my bet in this one, honestly.
Yeah, no,
This is my other bet that I hate.
You go Colts money line. Are you over to the Indy side
no.
with me?
I'm on the other side.
This seems just on a side real quick before I get to my best bet. It seems like I'm seeing a lot of sharps and people that might be on the Colts plus 7.5. This seems like a game that might just be overthinking it. The Lions put beatdowns on teams that aren't really, really good, and the Colts are an average team. I think the Lions probably take it to them. They're great against the run. They're going to have a lot of pressure on Anthony Richardson, where he's going to have to make all the plays because they're not going to have as much of a run game. But my best bet in this game, it's a whale play. It's Matt Gay over 1.5 field goals, minus 105 on. Field goal machine, guys. 2+ field goals at 8 straight. I can end it right there. 3 field goals in 2 of those games. Facing a Lions defense, they're about average in field goals allowed. But obviously, with something you look at when you look at field goals, the Lions have been extremely good defensively in the red zone. The 3rd best red zone defense, allowing a touchdown, only 42.86% of drives. And then you have the Colts, who are slightly below average red zone offense. I was encouraged a little bit by what I saw from A-Rich last week. Doesn't mean he's going to come out and do it again. He had 20 completions, which is usually about like a month for him. But the Lions push the Colts they're going to push them to keep moving the ball. It's to me, honestly, it's not a whale play. I put a half unit on it. But the big reason why I put a half unit on is because if the Lions get out to a huge lead, you might be seeing the Colts go for it on 4th down and not kicking field goals and things like that. So that kind of scares me. Although the Jaguars did kick 2 field goals last week against the Lions, even though they lost 52-6. But I like Matt Gay. I mean, just got to ride it. 9th straight game. Hopefully he can make it for 2+ field goals.
You literally just said, I like Matt Gay. You just got to ride it.
Yeah.
All right,
Modi.
All right, Modi. You called him Modi. Yeah. All right. So I'm on Detroit. I don't like this bet at all. I placed it early in the week. I got it at plus 100 at least, I guess. You could probably still get that now. I saw 7 at some point this morning. So, all right. So if you were looking for reasoning of why I'm on the Lions, I'd say my favorite angle would be I'm calling bullshit on what Anthony Richardson did last week. So just to give you an idea, before last week, before his game against the Jets, on the season, Anthony Richardson was on pace to break records as far as worst season throwing the ball against man coverage in recorded history. So on the season before the Jets game, he was 9 of 35 passing against man coverage. 9 of 35 with a 36 passer rating. Now, last week against the Jets, he made some throws. So I'm not taking that away from him. But basically, I'm just calling bullshit. I'm not going to let one game where he made a few throws trick me into thinking Anthony Richardson is now an accurate passer that we can trust. The Lions run a lot of man coverage, by the way. In fact, I believe in the last 4 weeks, they've run more man coverage than any other team in the NFL.
Let me interject. They run the most man coverage in the NFL by more than 4% than anybody else on the season.
So there you go. They run more man coverage than anyone else in the NFL by far. Anthony Richardson, before last week, was historically bad against man coverage. So basically, I'm just calling bullshit on what happened last week. I'm saying that was a one-off. I don't trust Anthony Richardson as a pocket passer, which, in my opinion, is how you beat the Detroit Lions. I mean, what is this Colts identity? What is the Colts offensive identity without Joe Flacco, with Anthony Richardson at quarterback? They want to run the ball. They want to get the ball to Jonathan Taylor. They want Anthony Richardson to use his legs. Plays right into the strength of the Lions' defense. The secondary's a mess. Their run defense is still top 5 in the NFL. So I don't think the Colts are going to be able to run the ball in this game, which means, look, Anthony Richardson's going to have clean pockets to throw from, and there's going to be opportunities for him to make throws here. I personally don't think he's going to make them. Maybe he proves me wrong, which is why I don't like the bet. And by the way, on the other side, Colts defense has been, okay. It's not great. It's not terrible. I'm going to come out and say it. I'm a little scared of Dan Campbell. To throw a challenge flag up 50 points in the fourth quarter, that's some next level shit. He threw a challenge flag up 50 points in the fourth quarter. He's not shooting to kill. He's shooting to wound first. This is crazy, throwing a challenge flag in the fourth quarter up 50 points. So, I wouldn't put it past this psychopath that he gets the ball back up 3 points with 2 minutes left, and instead of kneeling on it and ending the game, he wants to win by 10. He's crazy. So Dan Campbell looked like he's out to embarrass his opponents as well as just beat them. So I'm on the Lions. I don't like it. I don't like this bet. So if it loses, sorry. Fuck. Toast.
Yeah, I'm fading the hell out of that. Give me the Colts plus 7.5. I will say I got a little bit of help with this right up from my uncle, but I will say Detroit has been probably one of the, if not the best team in the NFL this year. Look at who else they've played. They played the Seahawks and the Cowboys when both of their defenses were decimated. They faced Mac Jones when they faced the Jaguars. The Texans didn't have Nico Collins. Jordan Love wasn't healthy when they faced the Packers. You could argue they've gotten very, very lucky when every time they face a team that's step up in competition. Not that I think that this Colts are a step up in competition, but I do think that it's positive that Jared Goff has been very, very good against man coverage. His numbers dropped to an average number when they're facing a zone team like this Colts team. And then one little trend for you guys. In the month of November and December, teams averaging over 31 points a game with a 90% or better winning percentage have gone just 5-20 ATS as a road favorite over the last 20 years and failing to cover that number by almost 5 points a game. The Colts are live, guys. The Colts are live.
You guys think I like this game? I have 3 bets. Under 50.5. That's the first one. I love this as a sell high spot for both these pass offenses, coming off both of their best performances of the year. I mean, Goff just had a perfect passer rating, 400 yards, 4 TDs. That's against a Jags defense that lives out of man coverage. Now I'm going to face, as Toasty just said, a Colts defense that's 3rd in zone coverage rate. Well, against man, Goff is 1st in completion percentage, passer rating, turnover-worthy play percentage. Against zone, 13th, 16th, and 26th. On top of that, the Colts do not blitz to create pressure. They sit back. Well, when not blitzed, his big-time throw rate, turnover-worthy play percentage, and sack rate all 27th or worse amongst 40 quarterbacks. So that's why I threw that interception in there at the plus 144 against this Colts defense that sits back in cover 3, a polar opposite matchup to the one against that Jacksonville defense where he looked flawless. I'm going to bet a half shingle. Yes, a shingle for him to make a mistake here at that excellent price. I mean, most of the books have this at now like plus 115. I got a plus 144. What the hell is that about? Seems a bit weird. Continuing on with this Colts offense, sure, Richardson looked like a new man last week, but the Jets defense has flown south for the winter. I mean, since Saleh has gotten fired, I believe they're 31st, 32nd in EPA per play. On top of that, the pass defense specifically has gone to shit. This line's pass defense is 2nd in EPA per play and 2nd in DVOA. They play man at the highest rate, as I mentioned, by over 4% over the next highest team. Richardson, ghastly against man coverage, and especially ghastly against cover 1, which the Lions also live out of. 36th in completion percentage, 33rd in passer rating, 31st in turnover-worthy play percentage. To make matters even worse for Tony Rich, the Lions' offense blitzes to create pressure at the 4th highest rate in the league, and he has not handled this pressure well at all. His yards per attempt dropped from 6th when not blitzed to 31st when blitzed. That's where my third play comes in. Anthony Richardson over 41.5 rush yards. I just mentioned the Lions blitz at the 4th highest rate in the league. Well, Richardson's scramble rate is 2.5 times higher when blitzed than when he's not blitzed. That's quite nice because it was clear out of the gates against New York that the intention for Richardson was to get him going in the run game with design stuff. He matches 2nd highest rushing total of his career in terms of usage with 10 attempts, and the Jets are one of the lowest teams in the league in terms of blitz usage. So we're getting an increase in blitz usage. We're getting an increase in designed rush attempts. Anthony Richardson may have 15 rush attempts in this game, and his total's at 8.5. We saw Baker with 34 against the Lions. We saw Kyler with 45 against them. The Detroit Lions allow the 2nd most yards per carry at 6.5 to the quarterback position. With 6+ rush attempts since 2020, opposing QBs are 10-3 to their over against Detroit, averaging 67.1. And the fact that Detroit rush defense is elite against running backs, and they bounced back the last 2 weeks in a major way. And I think that we're going to see a game that overall has a lot of rushing, but a lot of mistakes through the air. So under.
For clarification, Prop Beaver said he's putting a half shingle. Shingles is a painful rash caused by the varicella zoster virus, same virus that causes chickenpox.
Also a unit created by Toast.
That he'll never hear the end of, ever.
Sorry, Mom.
Let's next. Oh, that's right. Steve was like, my mom has shingles.
Also a disease outed by Jabba.
She didn't love that, by the way.
My mom's got shingles. All 3 of us were like...
Okay.
All right. What's next?
Bucs. It's the DeVito Bowl.
Oh, Steve has a touchdown score in this one.
Okay, let's
if you
play
want
the
to
song.
serenade them.
Anytime, touching it down, scoring it, running around. It's the anytime, touchdown, scoring. Anytime you need touchdown. Yeah.
All right. So, Steve, you have the floor. You have a touchdown score in this game.
I do. I have 3 bets. Don't make fun of me. Rachaad White, anytime touchdown, give it to me. Plus 175 is where I got it. He has 5 touchdowns in the last 4 games, guys. We're getting almost 2-1 odds. He has 1+ touchdown in 4 straight games. He's a guy who can score on the ground, through the air. He has 4 receiving touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown last 4. 15.9% red zone target share, 23.7% red zone rush share. There's just too many ways he can get in here. Plus 175. I just got to jump at the value there. And then my other bet, second one, under 41.5 in this game. I think it's actually moved down to 40.5. Giants are an absolute mess, obviously, on offense, in their locker room, everything. Averaging 15.6 points per game, and Danny DeVito starts last season. This is just flat out not a good offense. We know that. Giants at home this season, 4-1 to the under, this 41.5 line. Averaging the fewest points per game at home by far, 10.6 points per game. I know we have a new quarterback, so we'll see what happens. But now that we get the Bucs, their best O lineman, I think Tristan Wirfs is out. Is that correct?
Yes.
You guys know that? Okay. So which obviously isn't ideal. Evans is going to be back. We'll see how dominant he can be in his first game back on a hamstring injury. We're looking at, last time I saw 15-mile-an-hour winds. Sometimes I saw 20. It's going to affect the pass game if that is the case. I just see a low, grinded-out game. I think the Bucs just want to get out of here with a win. And the Giants' defense in the red zone also, it's pretty freaking good, actually. It's 5th best, holding opponents to a touchdown at 46.43%. And the red zone offense, pretty freaking terrible. The worst red zone offense in the NFL. That's why their games stay under. They can play some red zone defense, and they cannot score when they get in the red zone. I don't see DeVito coming in and absolutely dominating or anything. So I just see this as like a 20-14 type of game. And by the way, the last time the Bucs faced the Giants here was when Antonio Brown took off his shirt and ran off the field. That was, anyway, just want to point that out. But bet number 3, I just added this late last night. Tyrone Tracy over 14.5 rush attempts. This line is too low. He's over this in 5 of the last 6 games for rush attempts, averaging about 16. If you take out the Philly game, which was a blowout, he averages 18 rush attempts per game. Bucs are about average in how much teams run against him. He's the absolute workhorse here. We know that. I'd be shocked if their game plan was to say, okay, we're going to have DeVito come out and just chuck it all over the field. This line is too low. I think they give Tracy the ball just an absolute ton. I think he has a decent game on the ground. So I like Tracy over 14.5 rush attempts, along with White, and the under in this game.
You're all going to hate this one. Giants.
Y'all ready for this? Bum, bum, bum.
So I actually kind of like the
Me
Giants.
too. I got the money line too. It's sick.
I didn't
sick.
get the money line. I didn't go that
You're
crazy.
sick, man. I have the money line.
You're sick.
Give me +6 money line. Just chalk me up.
I mean, Giants don't allow yak. That's all Tampa Bay does. Baker can't cover as a favorite, but you go ahead.
Yeah, and okay. So I think people need to be a little bit concerned about this matchup for the Bucs offensively here. The Giants are first in adjusted sack rate. This Giants pass rush is good. They have a good pass rush. I'm not sure if they're getting Thibodeau back. He's been practicing all week. It's not confirmed. I'd like to bet whether or not Thibodeau's back. Obviously, if Thibodeau's back, that's huge. We're talking about a Bucs offensive line that's missing by far its most important piece, the left tackle Tristan Wirfs. On the road in it's going to be windy too, which hurts the passing attack. And the more the passing attack is taken out of this game, the more it favors the Giants. So we're talking about Bucs offensive line missing by far its anchor, its most important. Its most important piece on the road against a top 5 pass rush here. Baker Mayfield, what has been his biggest weakness this year? Tell him, Prop Beaver.
It's avoiding sacks. My Christ.
Pressure to sack rate, one of the worst in the NFL. He holds on to the ball, takes a lot of sacks. That's what we're going to see in this game. Sacks, sacks, sacks. So many sacks in this game. Giants are going to record a handful. I think Baker's going to be under pressure. Like Steve said, I'm expecting a lot of running on both sides. Bucs are going to be able to run the ball with Bucky Irving on the Giants, just like I think the Giants are going to be able to run the ball on the Bucs. This Bucs defense hasn't been very good this year. In fact, you can make an argument it's a bottom 10 defense. And like Steve said, this Giants team has found a little bit of success offensively with Tyrone Tracy. They've been running the ball. The last 3 games, I think they've averaged over 5 yards per carry. This Giants team has been running the ball. DeVito can run the ball a little bit too, which is an added angle to this. I mean, we're seeing Tommy DeVito thrown out there. You tell me that Daboll doesn't have a couple tricks up his sleeve here. The Bucs, Todd Bowles has no idea what he's about to see offensively, which always gives you a little bit of an advantage. Todd Bowles is coming into this one, has no clue what Brian Daboll's about to do offensively in this game. Obviously, it's limited. He has Tommy DeVito. But yeah, if you just take a step back and look at this line, it's crazy to lay 6 on the road. Keep in mind, guys, the Bucs haven't won a football game in forever. The Bucs haven't won a football game since October 13th. It's a month and a half ago. That's the last time the Bucs won a football game. Was October 13th. 4 straight losses. You're talking about laying 6 points on the road with a 4-6 team. And I know you're thinking, Kyle, the Giants haven't won a game in forever either. And you're thinking, the Bucs could have won their last few games. Okay, how does that not also apply to the Giants? Remember that primetime game in Pittsburgh? If it wasn't for the block, the punt return touchdown, the game probably goes to overtime against the Steelers in Pittsburgh. The game after that, against the Commanders, that shit came down. The Giants scored and the 2-point conversion with a backdoor cover. They played the Commanders tough too. They would have covered this number against Washington. They lost by 5. Then last week in Germany, they lost to the Panthers. The Giants could have easily won 3 games in a row, just like the Bucs could have easily won their last few games. 6 is way too many. It should be 3.5. Giants up. Kind of think they win.
I'll just go because I kind of tailed that and I started reading about this game after I tailed you. I will also just want to add the Tampa Bay defense is absolutely terrible. 29th in EPA per play allowed, 30th on success rate. And his Baker Mayfield as a favorite of 3 or more is 10, 18, and 1. Not to mention, one other thing I thought that was cool because he mentioned Tristan Wirfs, the guy that's replacing him, Justin School, a lot of experience in the league, but as I'm reading here, also has received the most help blocking up more than any other tackle in the league. So when he's in the game, they have to shift towards him. That could make it so the Giants have a little bit of pressure on the quarterback as well.
Someone said the Bucs have faced harder competition. In the last 4 games, the Bucs have seen the Saints, the Falcons, 49ers are like a 500 team this year, and then the Chiefs and Ravens. The Giants have seen the Bengals, the Eagles, at Pittsburgh, Washington, Carolina. I think in the last 5 games, the Giants have seen tougher competition, to be honest.
I don't have anything. What I really wanted to bet in this game, I was telling Kyle earlier, is most games they'll have a section on like Bet365 and ESPN. It's called Match Total, and I was going to bet the match total over sacks in this one because Tommy DeVito last year, I think it was 7, 6, 7, 5, 9, 6, 0 sacks taken. And Baker Mayfield, one of the most prone to sack QBs in the league. But Bet365 not offering that market for this game, but offering it for every other game. I wonder why.
Next, Denver in Vegas.
Are we not taking any guys to get a sack then, Beaver?
They're not offering guys on the Bucs to get a sack. I wonder why.
Oh, got it. All right, my bad.
All right. Today is the day of the Raider. Let me just check to see if there's any injury updates since I last looked about an hour ago. Still got nothing here. Whatever. I already bet it. I'm in. So, Denver on the road in Las Vegas. Raiders plus the points. Raiders money line. With the money lines that I'm saying with the Giants and Raiders, they're plus 240, plus 235. I'm just saying one of those teams win. If I go 1-1, I turn a profit with those 2 money lines. So, I'm not betting the Raiders money line and the Giants money line, expecting to go 2-0 there. That's something to keep in mind. But anyway, Raiders at home against the Broncos. I like the matchup for the Raiders. I think it's a perfect sell high spot on Denver. This team's good, this Denver team, and I respect it. It's just we're now talking about laying 5.5, laying 6 points on the road in a division game, coming off a huge win. Raiders didn't look all that bad last week in Miami, and what I really like for the Raiders here, the Raiders are a terrible team. No one cares. No one's talking about them. They're getting 3 starters back on the offensive line this week, coming off the bye. Coming off the bye. The left guard and the center both missed the last 2 games. So they're getting 3 starters back on the offensive line. That's some serious shit. I know the Raiders' offensive line isn't great. I know the run game hasn't really been there, but 3 starters on the offensive line is some serious shit. Now, a couple of them are questionable, but they've been practicing all week. So I think we're going to see 3 starters back on the offensive line for the Raiders in this one. I think the Denver run defense is a little overvalued. I was talking about it in the Baltimore game when I took it was Broncos Ravens, and I took Denver team total under because the Broncos were regarded to be some elite run defense. They haven't seen a ton of rushing attacks. It's not that I don't think the Broncos run defense is good. It's just they're regarded as this elite, unstoppable run defense, and I don't think it's that. They played Carolina, the Saints, the Chiefs. They played a lot of teams that don't run the ball. So I actually think there's a chance the Raiders are able to run the ball a little bit. You got Gardner Minshew with a fresh, healthy offensive line in front of him. You got Michael Mayer back. You got Brock Bowers. I think the Raiders are going to be able to move the ball a little bit in this game. And on the other side, I mean, Bo Nix on the road has not been nearly as good. You look at his home away splits, they're dramatic. Like, he's much, much, much better at home in Mile High. So, yeah, I think the Raiders win this one. I'm on the Raiders.
Yeah, I'll go next. And it's hard. On a side here, it is hard. Like you guys said, Bo Nix on the road. But Bo Nix has played a lot better, and that leads me to my best bet. The best rookie quarterback probably in the NFL in the last month or so. Bo Nix over 217.5 pass yards. I don't think this line has moved up enough to go with how well he's playing, how much he's throwing the ball. Over in 4 of 11 overall this season, but over in 3 of the last 4. His one miss was at 215 against Kansas City. Crazy stat is he's actually thrown for 215 or more yards in 7 of 11 games. One miss was the NFL debut. Another one was in the rain versus the Jets. But he has 30-plus pass attempts now in 40 straight games, 33 or more pass attempts, 3 of the last 4. I think they're going to throw the ball quite a bit here. It looks like a bit of a below-average matchup, and maybe you guys can confirm, but the Raiders are missing number 1, number 2, and their number 3 DB in this game, I believe. I mean, they are all out. We are talking nothing but backups in the secondary. And then we talk about the pass rush. Broncos O-line has the second highest pass blocking grade, and the Raiders don't really put any pressure on him. So I think he's going to have all day to throw. Good game script here, divisional game where I think it's going to be a close game and all that. So I think this number's too low. And then I also laddered him 225 plus. You could go to 250 even, but Nick's 225 plus with that Hunter Henry 6+ receptions. I got it plus 460 for a little shingle. And then that's what I got. I like Bo Nix, but if I had to pick a side, it is a lot of points on the road. I'd probably lean Raiders if I had to. But it's disgusting. And real quick, just on what you said, Kyle, you do think the Raiders are going to run. I worry about it, even with some O-linemen back. Their run game is so horrific. It's so bad.
Amir Abdullah today. I put a same-game parlay down. Amir Abdullah, touchdown scorer. Amir Abdullah, 50-plus rushing yards, and Raiders money line. Yeah, it's some high-risk shit. I will say, just to give you an idea, Bo Nix looks great, right? Well, in his road games, he's got a 74 passer rating compared to 106 at home. He's only thrown 3 touchdown passes on the road compared to 11 at home. His last road game, remember, Baltimore's got a terrible pass defense this year. His last road game was in Kansas City where he played pretty well. The one before that in Baltimore, I mean, he was pretty bad. An interception, 65 passer rating. So it's not that I think the Raiders are a good team. I think everyone with the market is just completely overvaluing and forgetting that Bo Nix is a rookie, and this is a road division game. And it shouldn't be surprising to anyone that even against the bad Raiders defense, Bo Nix could possibly throw 2 picks in this game. He is a rookie in a road division game. All right, Prop Beaver?
Yeah, this is not going to be a popular one. Honestly, kind of is somewhat against Jabba, but I honestly not. I think what it is that this Raiders defense is not good, but it forces you to beat them through other avenues. I'm not blind to the fact that Courtland Sutton is part of why Bo Nix is on a goddamn heater right now. I mean, he's over in 4 straight, averaging 92. Wait, I got the wrong graphic on the screen. My bad. 1 second. There we go. Courtland Sutton under 60.5 receiving yards. There we go. Courtland Sutton's on a heater right now. He's over in 4 straight, 92.5 yards per game, 7 receptions per game, 10 targets per game during that span. But the Raiders are taking wide receiver ones out of the game plan. They're forcing opposing wide receivers to beat them. I mean, we saw Tyreek Hill last week, 7 receptions. You'd think he goes over his receiving total. No, I mean, he only had 61 yards in that game. Same thing with Jamar Chase. You see Jamar Chase with 7 receptions. You think that's an 100-plus receiving yard game. No, just 43 yards in that game. Same thing, Hopkins, 2 receptions for 29 yards. Courtland Sutton himself, 2 receptions for 32 yards at home, where Bo Nix has performed significantly better. And then as well, Amari Cooper, 4 receptions for 35 yards. So we've seen this Raiders defense now hold 5 wide receiver ones under their total in a row. And what's really impressed me, as you've probably alluded to, is the efficiency. They're holding these weapons to an insane 9 yards per reception. This is a defense that runs too high at the 7th highest rate in the NFL. And Sutton's yards per reception plummets from 2.54 against 1 high to 1.16 against 2 high. So more than half of his production is being cut right there. Now, I'm not blind to the fact that Jacorian Bennett and Nate Hobbits are out for this one, but Jack Jones is a guy who got limited practice in on Friday. He's the lockdown corner in this one, and he's on the outside. Sutton lines up mostly on the outside, so he's going to be trailing him. And if anything, it just increases the likelihood that Nix is going to want to get the other guys involved. I mean, they're the ones who are going to be getting those better matchups against guys not named Jack Jones. Doing some line reading, the cornerbacks are out. Sutton's receptions line is only at 4.5 here, juiced to -130. I mean, is it charity night? The guy's had 6 and 7 receptions his last 4 games. Why are they just giving it to you at -120, -130? With 5 or less receptions, Sutton's gone under this line in 8 straight, 20 or 30 games since 2022, and 15 of 17 division games in his career, averaging 36 yards per game. So I'm taking the sharp under here with Sutton.
And something I want to add about Bo Nix is everyone's just like, all right, cool, Bo Nix is good now. He did a couple of good games. Keep in mind, this is not some 21-year-old rookie we're learning about. We've been watching Bo Nix play quarterback for 6 years. This is the 6th year we've been watching Bo Nix play quarterback, and it's what he does. He plays well, gets your confidence, and then lays an egg. It's 6 years. We're not just learning about this guy. We know who he is. I mean, I guess if you're only an NFL fan and not a college football fan, you might be just learning about him. But those of you that have watched college football over the last half a decade know, pump the brakes before you just start blindly laying points on the road with Bo Nix. Toast?
I agree with you. I played the Raiders as well. First of all, the Raiders have owned this rivalry in the over the last 10 years. Not to mention the fact that I do feel like Denver's stock is like kind of at an all-time high coming off that Atlanta game, which Atlanta is not that good.
Terrible.
They have a piss poor defense with 0 pass rush. I mean, that doesn't really do much. Not to mention they were in Mile High, and now you're getting this Raiders team that's again, that's not really good. I'll give you that, but I just feel like this number was way too high for the Broncos to be laying this number on the road. So I will say that I was looking over at some trends and stuff. If you really wanted to get crazy with it, Raiders in the first quarter looks pretty decent. The Broncos in the first quarter, or the Raiders in the first quarter, have been like really, really good this year. They're like top 5 in DVOA as far as defense is concerned. I don't know why that happens, but I just thought I'd mention it because I might sprinkle that. But yeah, Raiders plus
Last
points.
thing I really want to add, this is actually my biggest bet of the week. I don't know how the fuck I forgot about this. Amir Abdullah, 3+ receptions. I sniped this at +112. It's now up at -140 on FanDuel. I believe it's -145 on Bet365. If you could still get this at a playable price, go get it right now. Amir Abdullah is on the field for one function and one function only, to make plays through the air out of the backfield. The Broncos defense has been so good at blitzing and creating pressure that quarterbacks are shitting themselves and checking it to the RBs at an ungodly rate. Listen to running back receptions the last 5 weeks against the Broncos. Falcons, 5. Chiefs, 9. Ravens, 5. Panthers, 9. Saints, 8. If he has 30+% of the snaps, Abdullah is over the line in 11 of 15 opportunities headed back to 2021. So there you go.
Next.
Real quick on that point, Kyle mentioned Bo Nix on the road and all that. He could struggle and still throw over this. And also, Cortland Sutton could go under easily. I actually like the Cortland Sutton. But honestly, Bo Nix can still throw for a lot of yards because he's got Bailey. He's got other guys with all these injuries. They could have one receiver get locked down, and he has many other avenues to throw to. Just real quick, if Jack Jones is out, do you still like that Sutton under?
I mean, if I got 3 corners out, no.
Yeah.
It was kind of a play really on where the books were pricing it, honestly, and kind of the too high safety. But I assumed that they were pricing it like that because Jones is playing. I think it'd be a bit nuts if they're pricing it like that with the idea that Jones is not playing. I think Jones is going to go here.
Next. San Francisco, Green Bay. Ah, shit, man. Anyone want to talk about this game?
It's like the one game I have no bets.
I looked at it for a solid 20 minutes. I couldn't find. I guess if you put a gun to my head and forced me to place a bet on this game, I would lay 5.5 with Green Bay. I mean, obviously, I wish I grabbed a 2.5 before the Brock Purdy news was announced. This 49ers team is really, really hobbled. I'm sure everyone watching this already know who's hurt, but just in case you don't, Ayuk is obviously still out. Brock Purdy is not going to play in this game. Nick Bosa is out. Charvarius Ward is still out. His daughter passed away.
Trent Williams is questionable.
Trent Williams hasn't practiced all week. On the defensive line, in addition to Bosa, Hargrave is still out. Kevin Givens is out. The 49ers are a mess right now, and I don't really like what I've seen from Green Bay, but I do think they're able to run the ball in this game. And if I'm Matt LaFleur, This is my game to lose. Run the ball, call a conservative game plan. The 49ers are strong against the deep pass, and that's what Jordan Love likes to throw. He likes to throw the ball downfield. So if I'm LaFleur, I'm like, Jordan, listen, we do not need you to connect on 50-yard passes tonight. Hand the ball off to Josh Jacobs. Take what the 49ers defense gives you underneath. Let's hold on to the football, chew the clock. That's not the offense Green Bay normally likes to play. But in my opinion, granted, I'm not an NFL head coach, but in my opinion, if LaFleur does that, they should win this game by 7+. I think they can run the ball in San Francisco. So I'll say Green Bay -5.5. Don't actually have a bet on the game.
I have a lean on this game. I didn't make a bet, but you guys kind of talk about it. I like the under 44.5. Only one of the Packers' last 6 games have even hit the over. 49ers struggling offensively, even with Brock Purdy. They were horrendous in the red zone. They've been horrendous all year in the red zone. I just think it's a running game, chew up the clock. I see another under grinder, kind of a 21-14 type of game. So give me the under, but again, I didn't make a bet in this one.
Prop Beaver?
Yeah, I mean, I was telling Kyle that this degenerate in my fraternity group chat, I got a notification of an exact bet, 34-27. I said, dude, why the fuck did you just bet a live bet of a exact bet with Brandon Allen at quarterback, 34-27? Oh, Oz the Mentalist on Pat McAfee said that this was going to be the exact score. If there was ever a reason to take an under, that's it. I'll do it with you.
What, does he lose a lot, that guy?
No, it's just, I mean, what type of absolute fucking cornball shit is that? So.
Toes?
I can't add next game, please. I have nothing to add.
How do you even follow that up? Oz the Mentalist.
I can't follow that. Not even. Never mind.
What's next? All right, cool. A game I like. There's not many bets that I would say I like. Like, I know that I talked about the Raiders and Giants, and I do think they're good bets, but I do like this bet. I have a ladder. We need a ladder song. Like, get the ladder or something. Write a ladder song. So I love the matchup here for Geno Smith. I think we're looking at Geno Smith legacy game here. So I'll start going through the matchup. Prop Beaver's getting the poll up. So I love this match.
Why don't you tell us your bet first?
Well, Prop Beaver has to get the poll up before he puts it up.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I love the matchup for Geno Smith here. So the Seahawks have been having problems at right tackle this entire season. I'm sure Steve can attest to that. Abraham Lucas has been hurt, and they had George Fant in there. Then they had Stone Forsythe in there, both who also have gotten hurt during the season. So at any given time, the Seahawks have been rotating their third, fourth, or even fifth tackle in there at right tackle. The right tackle position has been a nightmare for the Seattle Seahawks this season. But Abraham Lucas came back last week. And what did we see? We saw the 49ers unable to touch Geno Smith. And that's the 49ers pass rush in San Francisco. Geno Smith was pressured on just 21% of his dropbacks last week in San Francisco. So Abraham Lucas, I'm not saying one game sample size. Abraham Lucas back. Seahawks have the best pass protection in the NFL. I'm just saying Abraham Lucas comes back for one game. They go on the road to San Francisco and the 49ers pass rush can't get to Geno. Now you're at home with a fully healthy offensive line. Again, Abraham Lucas back against the Cardinals pass rush, which is non-existent. I think Geno Smith is going to have time to set up an entire picnic and enjoy a 3-course meal in the pocket in this game. Not to mention the Cardinals secondary, not any good. So I love the matchup for Geno Smith. I think he's going to go bananas here. I think he's going to he might throw for 400 yards. Love it. But there's a reason that the graphic under my face doesn't say Seahawks money line. It's because I am scared shitless of Kyler Murray in this newly found Cardinals offense. We knew they could run the ball. That's not new. Cardinals were running the ball last year. That's not new. The last few games, Kyler Murray and McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr., that's looking like an elite passing attack. So here's the thing. I do expect McDonald to get the Seahawks defense together. They're also healthier. They've got Rayshawn, who's the safety, Steve?
Slater? No, not fuck. Rayshawn Jenkins.
Jenkins, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so he's back at safety. They got another piece back. The Seahawks defense is healthier right now than it's been, and I do expect McDonald to eventually get the defense together. So I don't think it's crazy that the Seahawks defense does show up here, but I'm so terrified of the Cardinals offense that instead of betting the Seahawks, I laddered the Seahawks team total. over 23.5 at -115, over 27.5 at +185, over 29.5 at +235. I do think the Seahawks win, and if I was making a pick ATS, or in this case a money line because it's at a pick 'em, it would be on the Seahawks. But rather than risk Kyler Murray winning a 35-34 game, I laddered the team total over. I do like this one. Seahawks up.
Wow. No, I like it. And actually, what's crazy is I almost released a bet on my video a couple days ago is Geno Smith over pass yards. It's like 249.5 right now. So when you were talking about laddering, I thought you were actually laddering a player prop, which you don't usually do. But that's also something to look at. I mean, 250 plus should not be hard for him. I agree with what he said. I think Witherspoon and these guys can slow down Marvin Harrison a lot, but I do think James Conner can have a good game here against the Seahawks. So I agree. You could also just take the over 47.5. I also like that bet as well. That's probably one of my best bets of this game when it comes to sides or total. As for an actual best bet that I made, it's only Jackson Smith and Jigba anytime touchdown. And if you haven't watched the Seahawks game lately, he has taken over as the number 2 receiver in this team. I also like Tyler Lockett under 3.5 catches to kind of correlate with that. But last 2 games, 13 and 11 targets. And by the way, Tyler Lockett under catches, he gets some big plays, so I wouldn't say under yards. But Seahawks, one of the most pass-heavy teams in the NFL, as we all know. JSN actually has the most red zone targets on the team, 25% red zone target share. Scored 2 touchdowns just a couple weeks ago. As long as Geno Smith doesn't become Geno Smith in the red zone and throw just terrible passes, I think he's got a really good chance. And again, it's plus 170 is what I got it for. So, like I said, I like Geno Smith over pass yards, like JSN over yards, anything over for JSN, and then Lockett under receptions. But JSN has looked really good the last couple weeks. It's been really awesome to see as a Seahawk fan. And Tyler Lockett's moved to that number 3 role. But yeah, I think the Seahawks score a lot. I think both teams can score a lot. I like the over in this game as well. But yeah, that's my take on it.
And by the way, I'm not worried about the weather at all here. I'm looking at the game time here. 43% chance of rain, 57% chance of rain, 47. So there is a chance of some precipitation here. There is some chance of precipitation here, but look at the wind. 3 miles an hour, 2 miles an hour, 4 miles an hour. So maybe it drizzles a little bit, but it's not going to be anything intense, and there's no wind. Not to mention Seattle, they know how to play in some nasty weather.
I was going to say, not to mention it rains in Seattle every day. They're so used to that. I mean, who would want to live in that shit? Well,
I don't live in the city.
I'm just saying there's not much worse than Seattle, Washington. I'm
going to be honest. I hate the city of Seattle. So
yeah, it doesn't get much worse. Yeah. It rains. You got all the weird. I'm not even going to get into that. Anyway, I have 2 plays. Seattle on the money line at -110. Part of this, I started looking at this because Kyle had like Seattle over 50.5 points or something like that, some alt team total that I saw. So that had me looking into it. And then that Seattle defense that he talked about, I don't think Seattle's defense is as bad as everybody's making them out to be. They had some bad stretches, but weeks 4 through 6, they played 3 games in 11 days. And this Seahawks defense now ranks the top 8 in both run and pass DVOA. Mike McDonald's a defensive guy. I trust him to keep on getting this team better. Not to mention the fact that this Arizona team at home and on the road is completely a different team. I do think that Seattle wins this game. I also played, I laughed when you said Tyler Lockett under receptions because I played Tyler Lockett over 36.5 receiving yards. Cardinals defense as far as against wide receivers is 30th in DVOA. Not to mention the fact that with Metcalf back and Jigma there, I think that he's going to be a little bit more open. I don't think that the Cardinals have enough cornerbacks to cover all these guys. If Geno goes off like Kyle thinks he does, I think Lockett gets over 36.5 and the Seahawks win. So that's what I did.
And I
also think the Seahawks win the division at a huge plus price if anybody wants to play that, because Arizona has Minnesota on deck, Purdy's hurt. There's a chance for the Seahawks to win this division.
And I don't mind that Lockett over receiving yards. He could go 2 for 40. You know what I mean? Like he gets some big plays. 100%. So mine was just more receptions related. But yeah, Seahawks to the Super Bowl, obviously.
Yeah. So for me, it's I don't really feel passionately about this game. I didn't bet it. It's just a lean. Yeah, I think my problem is really the ground game for the Seahawks. That's why I'm not getting to the window here. I think they kind of don't really have the edge on either side, but I'm kind of sticking to what I believe in here, and that's the fact that the Seahawks are the better team than the Arizona Cardinals. The fact that Geno in this past game, we are about to see MV Geno because Gino, what has he been? Significantly better when kept clean. We do have the fact that Abraham Lucas is back on the offensive line. He looked significantly better last week with Abraham Lucas on that offensive line. And you did say that we're not going to have a pass rush here. That is great for us. Mike McDonald is getting this defense back into shape, and Ernest Jones. I mean, we were talking about Tyrell Dotson last week. I think the change for Ernest Jones is good. I think we needed some Ernest Jones in our life, the Seahawks defense. So I think ultimately I'm going to take the Seahawks here because they're trending in the right direction. Kyler off the bye. Honestly, I think it could almost hurt the momentum of this team rather than helping it. So I think that's the way I'm leaning. I obviously do not feel strong about this game whatsoever, but yeah.
Someone said Toast should get a shirt that says, "I talked to my uncle about this game."
That's so true.
Next.
Does he have a Twitter account? Do I need to follow your uncle?
He has 0 social media. You will never find that.
Okay.
Talk to my uncle about this game. Eagles, Rams, prime time. The Carrie Underwood special here.
I love her.
Keep it in your pants, Toast. This is we're live.
Jesus Christ.
All right, Rams Eagles here in LA went back and forth on the side several times. When I first looked at it last week, probably a week ago today, I was like, oh, got to grab the Eagles at 2.5. Then throughout the week, I shifted over to the Rams. Like, I can grab a Rams +3. I'm in there. Still don't know which side I like. I do like the under, though. I got it at 49, and I think the total's suspiciously high. Maybe because these offenses have a lot of weapons on them, but I think maybe the market is not recognizing how good these two defenses are playing. So which side should we start with? We'll start with let's start with the Rams defense. Maybe not being talked about here, but this Rams defense is, this Rams defensive front, before the season started, if you remember, we were like, guys, this Rams defensive front is going to be bad. They're the youngest defensive front in the NFL. Remember, it was like, we even made a graphic with the ages. It was like 22, 23, 26, 24. The entire Rams defensive front seven is young. What we didn't account for was that gives them a lot of space to dramatically improve as the season progresses. And the last handful of games, guys, I think the Rams might have a top 10 defensive front here. I think they have a top 10 pass rush and maybe even a top 10 run defense. In the last 4 games, the Rams are allowing 3.5 yards per carry, success rate per rush under 30%, 91 rushing yards per game. They're allowing 91 rushing yards per game, 3.5 yards per carry, success rate under 30%. This Rams young-ass defensive front that we didn't have much hope for coming into the season is playing their asses off. Not to mention they're pressuring the passer at a top 10 rate. And if you look at Jalen Hurts' splits when pressured, it's alarming. Jalen Hurts has not been good when pressured this season. So the Rams defensive front, it's a problem. At home, the Eagles have a great offensive line, obviously, but I think they're able to slow down Saquon Barkley a bit because they've been slowing every single run game down that they've seen, and I think they're able to put some pressure on Jalen Hurts. Also, let's not pretend that shit's sweet when it comes to Jalen Hurts. We've seen him have some problems. The Eagles are cruising. Eagles look great. As far as Jalen Hurts play right now, I don't know if I'd co-sign it. I mean, there's been ups and downs, and definitely downs when you get pressure on them. I like the matchup for the Rams defense. I think they're really able to give the Eagles problems. But then on the other side, is there a hotter defense in the NFL than the Philadelphia Eagles? They're playing out of this world. I know that the Eagles superstars are on the offensive side of the ball. That's what gets all the press, right? That's what gets all the retweets. But the Eagles defense in their last 6 games, they're allowing 13 points per game. 13.8 to be exact. They're allowing 13.8 points per game. This Eagles defense made Cincinnati look like a bottom five offense. This Eagles defense might be the best in the league right now. So even though the Rams have some talent, yeah, they got some pieces back on the offensive line, they're still getting bullied. I don't like this Rams offensive line at all. We know Stafford can't handle pressure. The run game's been non-existent for the Rams and Kyron Williams so far this year, probably mostly because of the offensive line. I like the matchup for both defenses here, so tell me why we're getting a total at 49. Is it because of the superstar, like Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley? Is it because they just have a lot of cool fantasy football players? Because in my opinion, we're going to see the defenses reign here. A lot of field goals might be a toe spot. Toes may be able to get his toes wet in this one with some kicker props. I'm expecting to see some good defense. I think this is going to be a sweet game. by the way. I might be down to take a side against the spread. Let's listen to these guys.
I will tell you that since week 5, Philadelphia has the number 1 defense in the NFL. I do know that. So, I played the first half under. Sunday Night Football unders are 8-3 to the under. I like the first half unders. One thing that we know, the Eagles have struggled to score early in these games. Their offense is 27th in the first half. It jumps to 3rd after in the second half. The Rams are the same type of team. The Rams 20th in DVOA is first half offense. They're jumped to 7th in the second half as far as those two teams are concerned. Also, these two teams are combined 15-5 to the first half under. So I played first half under 24.5.
First half under 24.5. Steve.
Yeah, I don't have a best bet, but I agree with you. I think this line opened 46.5, 47. It went up to 49. I see 48.5. I don't know why it's going up. There's no way. You can't have a total of near 50 the way these defenses are playing. You just flat out can't. And I don't have a best bet, which is going to allow me to just enjoy this game because Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, these DBs going up against Nakua and Cooper Kupp, I am excited to see how this goes. I've been really impressed by these rookies, DBs, by the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it's been a big reason why they're playing so good. So I lean Eagles on a side, but I also like the under, like Kyle said. If you're looking for player props, Dallas Goedert now becomes the second best target for this team with Devontae Smith out. He had 62 yards on 8 targets with Devontae Smith out earlier. Rams bottom 5 defense versus tight end. So you could take his over 48.5 receiving yards. Jalen Hurts, if you're looking for a touchdown prop, 9 TDs now in his last 5 games. It's absolutely insane. He's just a machine. I think it's minus 125 though for that one. But yeah, I'm with Kyle. I didn't make a bet. I lean Eagles, but I do like the under. These defenses are they're playing a lot better. The Rams are, especially. I was making fun of the Eagles defense early in the season, calling them overrated. They are not overrated anymore. They have looked legit. I don't think we see a ton of points in this game either.
Yeah, and this isn't a lean for me. I did bet this. It's. I told you when the show started, I hate my bets today. 2 of my favorite bets are the Panthers and an under. That's how you know I just hate my bets today. So hopefully I don't get smoked. Prop Beaver, I see a couple of graphics under your face there.
Yeah. I decided I actually just placed the Rams live while we were doing this. I like both of these quite a bit. Dallas Goedert, first of all, Jabba just mentioned it. Now going to be the second target in this offense. Massive target on A.J. Brown's head on the outside, and that's quite beautiful for us because this Rams defense just can't guard tight ends to save their lives. They've allowed the 5th most yards per game, 5th most yards per reception, 24th in DVOA against tight ends, and most notably, every single opposing tight end since week 2 has cashed their receiving yards over against them. In fact, week 1, Sam Laporta went under his total. Had the line been based off this year's numbers and not last year's when he was I think he broke the rookie tight end yardage mark. He would have cleared that as well. I specifically really like the matchup for Goedert because the Rams' most used coverage is cover 3. Goedert has been Hurts' main man against cover 3. He leads the team in yardage, yards per out run, and targets per out run against cover 3. And now you're taking away a massive competitor in Devonta Smith. Goedert to record 4+ receptions is minus 370 on Caesars. We're 4+. He's over 19 to 30 games since 2021. Just last year, by the way, 117 yards on 8 receptions against this Rams defense. So I really like that. And then in terms of backing this Rams team, why do I want to back them here? It's actually not good historically. The Eagles own the Rams franchise 16-4-1 against the spread against the Rams. So historically, this is not a good bet, but I really like the spot because this is a revenge game for Mr. Sean McVay. If you go back to the season where the Rams lost the Super Bowl against the Patriots, against Belichick basically copy and pasted the Vic Fangio defense from earlier that season where the Rams offense was prolific. They were scoring 35 points a game on anybody they wanted. But earlier that season when he had faced Fangio's Bears defense, I think they only held him to 6 or 12 points or something along those lines. Then in the Super Bowl, they went ahead, copy and pasted that shit, and he was held renderless. Since then, Sean McVay, we've seen completely change his offense. We've seen him incorporate bigger offensive linemen, incorporate the run a lot more. He's basically been mind-fucked by Vic Fangio ever since then, and this is their first matchup since. I think this is like the Super Bowl for Sean McVay. He does not want to lose this game to Vic Fangio whatsoever, so I think we're going to see the best out of this offense. I think, honestly, that's why the total is so high, and I also think that the Eagles' defense, although they have been so fantastic lately, is quite frankly a bit overvalued. I mean, if we're just looking in terms of the competition they have faced lately, sure, they have faced the Commanders' offense, which we have noted they've been fantastic. I mean, top 10 in almost every rank lately, but we have noted that they've fallen off due to Jaden Daniels' rib injury. We got Cooper Rush on there. Trevor Lawrence, who, depending on the day, could be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL or one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson.
Oh, you skipped one.
Oh, Joe Burrow without T. Higgins, who has been...
Oh, my God. No, you're discrediting the Bengals offense in Cincinnati.
Absolutely. So, yet again, this is going to be a dramatic step up in competition for this Eagles defense. Who knows if they could stand the competition of Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp? Yes, this is going to be dramatic.
I don't hate your Rams +3 bet. That last part of your reasoning was a bunch of horseshit, though. Hit the community parlay song.
All right.
Community parlay, the parlay we bet, yeah. Community parlay is for the community. We come unite, making a parlay. Yeah.
All right. I'll do the community parlay. You do the underdog?
Yeah.
All right. So Prop Beaver's going to get his underdog pick'em up on the screen, and I'll get the polls going for the community parlay.
My house is quiet. Oh, I think the kids and everyone are gone. This could be a good morning.
Would you ship them off to boarding school?
I did, yeah.
Shit's expensive, bro.
Yeah, Krabs said it in the comments. He said, dude said held renderless. He meant rendered helpless.
I think held renderless is...
Really? I think it's rendered helpless.
I went to school.
Oh, you went to school?
Yeah, it was a decent one.
Yeah, we saw you in school.
So... yeah, you did see me at school. So we got an underdog here. It was a 3-legger. Cortland Sutton, lower than 59.5 receiving yards. Will Levis, higher than 21.5 rushing yards. And Anthony Richardson, higher than 40.5 rushing yards. I mean, look at these three studs. Wowza. The underdog promo of the day is LeBron James, higher than a half total point. If you don't have an underdog yet and would like to join, what are you doing? You can in one of these yellow states. It's with the promo code BET, B-E-T, 3-E-E, letters.
Chiefs money line is the first leg of the community parlay. I see the community's being aggressive.
Are you fucking kidding?
Yep. They're going with Chiefs.
I wasn't even talking about that. I have a full unit on Charleston +3.5. They're down 39-16.
I told you I was faded Charleston.
Shot quality score has them up 1. So awesome.
All right, second leg of the community parlay. Cast your votes. Oh, Steve, want to tell the fine people where they can find your stuff?
Yes, fine people. YouTube channel, Just a Bet Outside, also on X and Discord. We talk MLB, NBA, NFL every single day, and we have a lot of fun, give out a lot of research help and bets, and it's been awesome. So thank you guys for having me on every Sunday.
Second leg is the Lions money line. Chiefs money line against the Panthers. Lions money line against the Colts. What could go wrong here? Let's see what else we got. We got the Packers money line. Cardinals Seahawks. Did they like the Seahawks or Cardinals there? Anyone know? You know what? I'm going to give them both options because we only have...
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it was the Seahawks because we were all mostly on Seahawks.
And Eagles. All right. What's the third leg of the community parlay?
What's your guys' favorite bet today?
I'd say... I guess the Vikings at -3. I don't really have one. I really don't like the games today. I'm really set up for a bad day.
My Christ.
Austin Siebert over 7.5.
I just don't like any of the lines. The market moved against me in a bunch of my bets. I just really don't like the action today.
I know how that feels, though. It's a terrible feeling.
Yeah, it's awful. And I know, we got a shitload of views, too, so I'm going to get crushed in the comments if I have a bad day. I'm going to get assaulted in the comments if I have a bad day. Yeah.
Oh, I bet my life on this, Kyle.
Yeah, you mean the bet where I was like, if you put a gun to my head, I'll bet this.
Yeah.
I went all in.
Can I be the only dark cloud, though, today? I played Portland +11.5. They lost by 40. Charleston's down by 20. They should be winning. Georgia's going to win, so I'm going to have to lose my money line parlay. Then I'm going to have to listen to freaking Andy for 2 hours.
Oh, that's the worst part of everything you just said.
Yeah.
What's the fourth leg of the community parlay? Cast your votes. Cast your votes.
And my favorite play is Austin Seibert over 7.5 kicking points. It's just he's essentially just like Chris Boswell. Just play it every week for a full unit, set it and forget it, and collect your money at the end.
I hope he kicks 50 of them today. Well, not 50.
Me too.
I'm 50.
Someone said Kyle's pimping all these questionable picks all show, and then says, "I'm not feeling it this week." Bro, I literally started the show off by saying I hate the slate and I don't like any of my bets. I gave a whole speech about it before we started.
Tell me you didn't watch the show without telling me you didn't watch the show.
All right.
Also, it's questionable based off your personal opinion. I mean, what if he sweeps the board this week?
And end poll. Commanders money line. Someone give me the odds. Not everyone, not all you at once.
I know, I'm coming. All right, well, don't get too excited.
Is there a plus in front
Yeah,
of it?
there's a plus.
All right.
Plus 125.
Plus 125.
Wait, 1 second. Where is it? Wait, which fucking text box is it? Jesus.
Great value.
Oh, man.
There we go. Woo.
Is that it right there?
Yep, it's a beauty.
So it is the community parlay. Chiefs money line, Lions money line, Packers money line. Command. This is a disgusting one. Plus 125. Community just wants to see one go through the net. That's all. So Chiefs money line, Lions money line, Packers money line, Commanders money line. This kind of looks like one of Toast's regular day-to-day bets. 4 chalky favorites, plus 125. Thanks everyone for watching.
Take a shower. Everybody take a shower after this, okay?
See you all tomorrow. Enjoy your Sunday. Bet responsibly. All of that. Later.